Pacers in 5. Ladies and gentlemen, the Indiana Pacers take down the Milwaukee Bucks 119-118 in an overtime thriller. One of the most memorable games that I'll ever cover in my life. But wow, Tyrese Haliburton Facci leads the Pacers to victory. Does it in regulation to send it to overtime. Does it in overtime with 1 second left on the clock. This is just unreal stuff here from the Pacers, and they make it past the Milwaukee Bucks in this series. So listen, you guys are listening to Setting the Pace, your go-to Pacers podcast, and we want to thank you all so much for being a part of this post-game celebration here. But Facci, the pasty white arms are back. The Facci jersey, it's undefeated.
I had to bring it back. This is a childhood Jermaine O'Neal jersey. I'm switching it up every game. I'm trying to do my part, be as superstitious as it gets. But as they said in Titanic, as Jack said, I'm on top of the world. I believe he said that. That's how I feel right now. I wanted to wear a suit on this show because I wanted to be a gentleman for the gentleman's sweep. All right, a 5-game series, man. I would trade every sports memory I've ever had in person for what you and these fans got to witness tonight. That was a moment.
It really was a moment, and I'm really happy for the fans that were there because they got to witness something special. Now, I will say this, Miles Turner did call out the fans that left the game with 40 seconds left down by 7. I mean, it looked like the Pacers were dead in the water, let's be honest. It looked like, oh my God, they're about to have to go back to Milwaukee, hopefully win it there. If not, come back here for a game 7 where anything can happen. But just the resiliency of this team, Facci, to just continue to fight, to continue to chip. And, when they got it to overtime, I felt good about their chances in overtime just because of how gassed Giannis looked. And their starters pretty much played the entirety of the game. They couldn't really play their bench much. So, the way that the Bucks came out, I mean, I think that's where we should really start here, is just the way the Bucks came out and dominated the first quarter. They just completely crushed the Pacers. And Rick Carlisle, post-game, had to be bleeped out because, when asked about what happened there, he's like, what was your message to the team was one of the questions. And he said, effing hit somebody. Yep. He was like, they were just hitting them every time they touched the ball. Nothing was easy. And like they were just playing physical basketball, and the Pacers were not reaching or matching that level of physicality. And I just think that Indiana needed a wake-up call. The fact that they pulled this game out of their butts when they were down 20 points at one point, like it's just a miracle, really. So congratulations to the Pacers.
I mean, it was 11-0 to start the game. I couldn't have thought of a worse start to the game outside of someone, knock on wood, getting hurt. I was like, this is just, man, like this is the Bucks fighting for their life. I mean, it was 30-13 at the end of the first. That lead got stretched to 20 points. I absolutely will be on record to say I did not think the Pacers were going to be able to come back. I thought, man, this is Milwaukee fighting for everything, trying to rally behind losing Dame, trying to send this back to Milwaukee, do everything possible. But little by little, the Pacers chipped away. And I remember in the BCC chat, I was like, if they could just get it to single digits, if you can go into halftime down 6 to 8 points, I'd feel great about that. And they did. They got it down to 47-41. And at that point, I really felt like, you know what? We can do this. We can absolutely do this. And, man, this was the type of game that Siakam was really nowhere to be found for most of the game. Haliburton was very quiet, 12 points through 3 quarters, but everybody did their part until Indiana was able to get close enough. And this is one of those wins where if you stuck with this team throughout the year, this was the reward. Pacers in 5 closing at home, showing that they can do anything in front of their crowd. They would not pull this off in Milwaukee. It's the power of playing at home. They felt comfortable. They felt confident. They never gave up.
I mean, you just got to give them a lot of credit. It was so many guys. Like when the Pacers, they ended up getting the first 3 in overtime. Haliburton hits that big 3. You're kind of feeling like, okay, momentum is in our favor. And then Gary Trent Jr. hits 3 threes in a row.
Couldn't believe
and all of a sudden, the Bucks are up 6 again. I'm thinking to myself, how do you leave this guy open? Like, this guy is just like a flamethrower right now. And I just felt like every time he got an open look tonight, it was going in. Yep. He would miss shots if you were running at him and closing out. But, like, if he had an open look, I mean, they were just – finally, the Bucks made the right adjustments with their lineups, but it was, like, 3 games too late. So I thank you, Doc Rivers, for not making the right adjustments early on, because I think Indiana would have figured some stuff out along the way, obviously. But just seeing like how much more spacing was out there for Milwaukee, and they kind of matched the small ball of Indiana was smart. But the way that Aaron Nesmith comes in and then hits that big three and then drives to the basket and cuts the game back down to one, like he gave you life. And then the Bucks had a 5-0 run after that. Trent Jr. got free again. I think Giannis had a layup. So it was like you just never knew what was going to happen. But when you see Nimhard just hit that big three to cut it to four, like you felt like it was like a little bit of a fake comeback. Like what's happening here? He
I,
hits that. The Pacers get a great steal. I think it was Aaron Nesmith forced the steal on Gary Trent Jr. Haliburton drives the distance, gets fouled by AJ Green, hits the layup and one, hits the free throw. I mean, it's just moments that you live for. And Facci, I don't know if they talked about it on the broadcast. I'm sure they did, but Tyrese Haliburton was sporting some new shoes tonight. He was sporting some Pumas, but they were themed to, pay homage, I guess you could say, to a WWE legend, The Undertaker. I
hey,
asked him after the game. I had to.
yeah, too. I
What was
remember
the
last time no one
inspiration
asked about his
behind
shoes.
The Undertaker's shoes? He smiled, stared at me for 3 seconds, and said, I love the WWE.
I love that man. I mean, Tyrese is king. I love the fact that he hopped on the scorer's table afterwards. Like
What a
that is
moment.
that's a moment. Like you have to embrace that being around your fans, and it's just like that's the type of moment people will never forget. I saw not only did we see the Pacers celebrating at midcourt, like not only did we see that, we saw fans celebrating outside the arena, just going nuts. It was that type of moment. But to go back to what you mentioned before, after Neymar hits that three, it's like okay, all right, yeah, they have a chance over here. And I love the defense that they played. So let's go back. Kevin Porter Jr. He's inbounding the ball. Immediately, he's being double teamed. All right, then he needs to pass it to AJ Green. He's being double teamed, and he throws a bad pass to Gary Trent Jr. And when that goes out of bounds, right then and there, I was racing across my house. My wife's begging me to please, please don't wake up the kids. Like take it easy. I'm like, babe, I can't. I'm like having an outer body experience right now. I never expected to be back in this game. And to put things in perspective, I saw this on Twitter. Someone tweeted this out. I can't remember who. Indiana was down 118 to 111. That means they're trailing by 7 points with 40 seconds to go. In the last 30 years, no team's been able to come back from that in overtime. That's what the Pacers did.
Yeah.
They did the impossible. They came back from seven down with 40 seconds to go. And when Tyrese goes just essentially coast to coast and right past Giannis, I mean, Indiana has not backed down. Nembhard hit a huge three in front of Giannis earlier in this series. Haliburton goes right at him, and when he makes it, I mean, that's who you want with the ball in his hands. And when I said he had a quiet game, 12 points through three quarters, he scores 14 in the fourth quarter and overtime. That is our franchise guy. That's the guy who they said is the most overrated. He had a great tweet afterwards saying, overrate this, because how could you call this man overrated after he's now hit game winners against the Bucks in back-to-back years in the playoffs? Like
Yeah.
this man is it. He is him.
I'll say this. Tyrese Haliburton is allergic to winning here in Indiana. I mean, it's just what he does. I mean, it's a beautiful thing to watch. You love the spirit that he plays with. You love the way that he just gets so many people involved. And look, I mean, in the beginning of the game, it was rough for Tyrese. Like you mentioned
Yeah,
it.
it was.
He was not putting the ball in the basket, wasn't even looking at the basket, was driving into the paint and kicking it out without even like looking at the rim. And I don't know how many fans I heard in the arena shoot, they're just screaming, shoot the ball, shoot the ball. And I was like, when you're on media row, you can't be a fan. You kind of just watch the game, right? But like, I was like living vicariously through some of these fans because I understood what they were saying. Like, he's right there, just shoot the basketball, and then he does it 2 times in a row, and he gets 2 baskets back to back. And it's like you have that capability. Like you are lengthier than you realize. You are slithery than you realize. Like more slithery than you realize. Like just get into the paint and score. And once you do that, it's going to open up so much more for other guys. And so, it was a really weird game, Foch. I'm not going to lie. Like I really don't even know what I just watched. Like it's still hard to process everything because I haven't had a chance to go back and rewatch anything. Everything is just in the moment. But man, I mean, just thinking about the performance Giannis had tonight and the fact that you're able to overcome that and win by one. Like Giannis had an all-out, like how you would expect a top guy in the league to put up a stat line like that in an elimination game. Like he put this team on his back. And, I think that the 5 fouls and the exhaustion that he played with eventually got to him.
He looked tired.
And, a lot of people were saying, like, this could be Giannis's last game in Milwaukee potentially. I mean, what a way to go out.
Look, I know there's going to be some Bucks fans that stumble upon this episode and hey, Tip my hat to the Bucks. They went through a lot. Like I'm very, very, sorry you guys lost, Dame and everything of that sort. But yeah, if you're the Bucks right now, where do you go from this? You don't own your own first round pick till 2031. There's a chance that Dame doesn't play all of next year. You have guys like Brooke Lopez and other guys that are going to Gary Trent Jr. that are going to be free agents. You don't have a lot of money to spend. You don't have young talent. It felt like Indiana might have closed the window on the Milwaukee Bucks championship window. I know they got a championship a few years ago, but from right now they have a lot of questions, and it makes me blessed to be a Pacer fan because we have the young core, we have guys under contract, we own our picks outside of next year's pick. It's like this, you feel for them. We got to bring it up. There was a lot of drama after, like right when this game ended. John Haliburton coming out, kind of getting into Giannis's face with the Haliburton flag. I know Haliburton said, like, I don't agree with that. That's tough. In the heat of the moment like that, you feel for Giannis. He's such a competitor that like anyone getting in your face afterwards is not going to be received well. We saw players going at it. We saw Giannis and Ben Mathurin. I don't know what words were exchanged. First it looked friendly, then it turned into a little bit of drama, but like these two teams, they've played each other what feels like 20 times in the last few years. It's probably pretty close to that. And
It's 20 exactly, Facci. Today was game 20.
that's crazy. So it went from being an
Did you
exaggeration.
listen to yesterday's episode of Setting the Pace?
I did not. I
See,
got a
if you
lot
would have
going on.
listened, you would have known.
Hey, a little busy right now, but you know what? Do the best I
You'll
can.
listen to this one.
I'm living it. I'm living it as we speak. But yeah, 20 times. There's bad blood here. Shocked players didn't get ejected. But you know what? It's a hard fought series. I know it was a 5 game series, but my heart couldn't really take another game. If we went back to Milwaukee for 6, I wasn't feeling great about it.
Yeah, I was just done. I was tired of the antics by the end of it all. Like
So,
I love the back and forth. I think it's fun, but like at some point it just gets annoying. Like I couldn't believe the officials didn't review anything in terms of like giving technical fouls, especially to Bobby Portis. Like some of the stuff he was doing was just unnecessary. Like he got back like in Nemhard's face
yeah,
after a play, and like there was stuff that would have been called a tech in other games with other officials that weren't
I
called
agree
in
with
this
that.
one, and so they just allow that physicality to kind of like get to a certain degree where like it wasn't like over the top, I would say, but I mean it was just guys chirping, but like there was a lot of stuff that was said, and so you brought it up. John Halliburton walks onto the court and has his towel with Tyrese on it, obviously, or a flag, whatever it was. And this is what Giannis said in the post game press conference, and I'm quote tweeting here from what I'm quoting what was said here from Michael Scotto in his quote tweet. He said, Giannis said that his dad came on the floor showing me his son's towel with his face saying, that is what we effing do. I feel like that's very disrespectful. I have won a championship. They haven't. And
Yeah,
this is where Tyrese basically said he found out after the entire situation happened because he said he kind of blacked out and he was on the scores table, like you mentioned earlier, celebrating that big shot and just the series win, like just how emotional it was and physical it was. And I mean, you get it. Like it was a tough
it was.
series. And so Tyrese said he went back and watched it. And he's like, I had a conversation with my dad. Like, you just cannot do that because I'm a player. You're a parent. You're excited as a parent. I respect that you're excited, but you have to let me be a grown man and be a player out there. And that's just what it comes down to. And I mean, I think that we're all like, those of us that are parents, like you're protective of your kids, even though like my son's 4 months and your daughter is what 2 years old.
It's about to.
And
Yep.
yeah, and your son is just a couple months. Like you're just so excited, like you're gonna do anything for him. And in that moment, like I can see John just getting really excited for Halbert, but like definitely just crossing a line because when you're a parent in that moment, like the fact that you just like beat this team 4-1 and like Giannis just played his heart out and like just lost us by one, like the emotional, just frustration he's got to be feeling in that moment for you to go and kind of taunt him. He crossed the line.
He
And I
did.
love John Haliburton. I love what
So
he
do
means to this franchise. I love what Tyrese means to this franchise. But you can't do that. I'm glad that Tyrese owned it, and I'm glad that Tyrese said he's going to address Giannis in the future and just bring up this moment and kind of apologize on his dad's behalf because he was not happy with what his dad did. But I still think at the end of the day, Tyrese is very happy with the way the Pacers won this game.
If you're a Pacer fan, you love John Haliburton. He's like, if you're even anywhere near him, the energy that comes off of him is like unreal. Great guy. In that moment, you also don't want to take away from Tyrese's moment. It's like such a big, unbelievable moment that you don't want there to be any sort of other storyline of any negativity in that. So I think you learn from that. I know personally, I'm a very sore loser. And if someone did that to
I
me,
am not surprised.
I am a very sore loser, and if someone did that to me, like I would overreact. So I feel like Giannis did the best that he could to kind of hold it together. I did see there's also a clip where Giannis and John Haliburton talk again. It looks like they squashed it out, came to a good understanding. I'm glad they were able to do that. But like, yeah, that's the tough part of like getting eliminated at the buzzer when you did everything you could for your team. You're gonna feel that. It's gonna sting. It's gonna hurt. But I do want to then shift back to the Pacers of like seeing them celebrate at midcourt and jumping up and down like the joy that they have for playing with each other is amazing. That's the chemistry. That's that like what they were looking for when they wanted to run it back because they knew this team has been battle tested now. Like they can grow as individuals. They have. There's guys that stepped up in this game. I mean, like we talked about, your top two players, Haliburton and Siakam, had down performances through the majority of this game. Siakam had 4 points going into the fourth quarter. That man carried us for most of the year, but guys like Neesmith with 19 and 12, Turner with 21 and 9, Nembhard had 15, 6 and 6. McConnell had his moments where he was huge. It's
He
like
was
that
huge in this game.
huge. And we've talked about before. I know it was a crazy overreaction there. But look, like McConnell's had some tough games. He's had some tough games. The last two games, he's had some moments. And tonight was exactly why you love TJ McConnell.
I love it, Facci. I love the passion. I mean,
I'm
you're
fired up.
straining over there. You're fired up, and I mean, we haven't even heard anything about the pep in the step.
Oh my God, don't even get me started on the pep and the step. We're talking about that's that elimination pep. That's that we're going to the semis pep. That's the pack the bags to Cancun, Milwaukee type of pep. Like we're moving on right now. I mean, it's like I got that extra snap. It just feels good right now. It's that midweek coast you over to the weekend. We don't even know when the next time we're playing. That type of pep. Because we got it done in 5, man. Life is good.
I mean, you got 3 work days left, Facci, before the Pacers will at least play again. It'll be either Saturday or Sunday. Now, we do know that the Knicks, they're going to play Game 6
Oh
in
yeah.
Detroit. Detroit won one on the road. They almost did what Milwaukee, they did tonight, what Milwaukee couldn't do tonight. So, I mean, congratulations to the Pistons. Like, wow, they definitely have
They
they've
got one other game.
outperformed what I thought they would do in this series. I thought it was going to be a sweep. I thought it was a good story, but man, they're really proving me wrong. I think like some of the guys that they have like hitting big shots for them, like Tobias Harris, like what in the world has happened to him? Like what a revelation for him. Dennis Schroeder, like I don't even talk about the Pistons. I'm
Yeah.
just saying, like it's just crazy. Like what they've been doing is really cool. But no, this was a game, Facci, and you bring up every single player there that had big moments, like Miles Turner. I just felt like he was so impactful in this game against the Bucks, and I know Giannis kind of did his thing. But Siakam getting 5 fouls, it caused the Pacers to have to put Miles on Giannis because we've seen throughout this series that Aaron Nesmith just cannot do it for long stretches. They were trying to play Jarris at times on Giannis, and it gave Giannis a little bit of a break defensively having to guard Jarris because all Jarris really will do is catch and shoot in the version that he's in right now with this offense. So I felt like it did give him a break, and I would have just continued to go at Giannis with Pascal because Pascal's footwork is like so beautiful, and Giannis was having a hard time staying in front of him. Like that's one thing about Giannis with his defense. Like he can get his feet kind of stuck in the mud at times, and I don't know if it's like he just chooses to be lateral when he wants to be, but like the way that Tyrese kind of blew by him, like obviously he was like tired at the end of the game, but like Pascal's been able to be like slithery and get by him several different times in the series. So the way that Pascal played tonight, like if you looked at his box score, you would be like, wow, 10 points is all he had because it was a pretty quiet night for him. Like I didn't ever feel like he did anything, but like most time that's like, oh, it's a 20-point game for Pascal.
Yep.
But at the end of the game, what did he have? Like 6 points there at the end of the game just to kind
He
of get the
did.
Pacers back into it because the Bucks were switching everything and he kept just abusing every switch and hitting tough shot after shot. So, I mean, everybody had their role in this game tonight, and it was beautiful to see. And that is what makes the Pacers a dangerous team. Now, look, I don't really know what to expect from the Cavs because the Cavaliers just wiped away the Miami Heat in 4 games, most lopsided
Historic.
deficit, you know. But the Heat are not good. The Heat are not the Pacers. So a lot of people are excited about this. I know most people are going to pick the Cavs. I think it's a smart pick just because the Cavs are one of the best teams in the league all year long. But like, don't count Indiana out. I think they're
I
going
don't
to make
want
this
to.
one competitive.
I don't want to look. I've been on record before where it's like last year. It's like, all right, you know what? Yeah, Boston will win. I might even pick. I can't even remember if I picked the Knicks or not. Maybe I did, but like I try and be realistic. I'm not counting the Pacers out. I'm not. Like there's a scenario where it's like Pacers could win this in 7. They could. You can't tell me that they can't. win this series. And I'm not going to look at the regular season. The Pacers beat the Cavs 3-1 in the regular season. Two of those games essentially don't even count. They were backups by Cleveland. So I'm not looking at that. I'm throwing it out the window. The one game that the Pacers did win early on against Cleveland was actually when Haliburton got hurt. And the Pacers rallied around him and they took down Cleveland. Whatever it is, they're both going to be on equal level playing ground with rest. So that's great. Indiana, they are a juggernaut at home. Until they lose at home, I feel like they're almost bulletproof. Anything could happen. And we'll get into plenty of previews and things like that with Pacers Cavs. But, for a night like tonight, this is just I know the Warriors had that We Believe, season, like 2007, showing my age here. But I just feel like with this team, I do believe. I really do, because there's the depth of the team where on any night, someone can step up and pick up the slack. And if you can erase a 20-point deficit in the playoffs, I'm sorry, you got something special. You got something special that you got to believe in. And this Pacers team, they got to start getting respect. I mean, if we rewind to before the series started, when I can't even remember his name, Chandler Parsons and Lou Williams, guys that gave like the worst analysis out there. I mean, I haven't really watched the Pacers, so yeah, Bucks and 6, or they had a rough start to the year, whatever, or the Bucks, do they have Giannis, Bucks like. People gave us, they didn't even look at us. They didn't even say, I've even watched you. We were an afterthought. You have to watch this team right now because you're missing out if you don't. It's must see TV. It's a beautiful game that they are playing.
Yeah, I mean, and to be honest with you, there's so much content out there. When somebody starts out the thing by saying, I haven't watched Pacers all year long, I'm not going to listen to what they have to say. They don't have any idea of what they're talking about. It'd be like me talking about, like the Utah Jazz. Like, I haven't really watched Utah Jazz all season long. Why would I talk about them for that? It makes no sense. We're around this team every single day. So we feel like we know this team, like the back of our hand. We talk about them ad nauseum. And obviously, we're not going to know the opponent as well as other people that cover the opponent on a daily basis. So I'm just gonna put it out there. Like for me, when it comes to content and what I'm looking forward to, I'm looking forward to people that I know actually watch all
Agreed.
these games.
Yep.
So somebody like a Zach Lowe, right? Zach Lowe, great to have him back in our sphere, talking NBA basketball once again. But like he was like, I think it's Pacers in 6 at max. He was like, I don't know if they're gonna need 6 to win that game, like to win the series. Like that's somebody that has actually been watching all year long, both the Bucks and the Pacers. Like they're just pesky, man. Like this is a team. Like when you look at this team, you're like, okay, who is their number one player? Well, on any given night, it can be Siakam or Haliburton, right? Like that's you kind of have like your pick of the poison there. But for most teams, you have a guy, you have a number one guy and a number two guy, but they're kind of like 1A, 1B. And oftentimes they don't really step up and become 1A and 1B, throughout the entirety of the game. And that's when you need your role players like a Nemhard, like a Neesmith, like TJ McConnell tonight, Miles Turner once again. Like those guys to step up. Like this is truly the definition of team basketball. And they have shot makers that are their clutch guys that close things out for them, like Ty and Pascal. And like, look, Ty is the franchise. We all know that he's the highest paid player on the team, all NBA guard, like one of the best ever to do it for the Pacers. And he steps up in the big moments, but it's not like he's the one that's carrying the load like Giannis did for the Bucks tonight. So it's what makes this team special. And I gotta tip my hat to him just because this is a game that easily could have been lost. This is a
Easily.
game they could have easily just melded in 7 points, 40 seconds. There's no way we're gonna come back, and they just never stop. They never quit, and I think that's what makes them so dangerous moving forward because they got a taste of it last year, and now they want to prove that it's not an Atlanta Hawks 2021 run. And they did that by beating Milwaukee, and they're going to continue to do that by playing well. If they get swept by the Cavs, I still, it depends on how they get swept. If they do get swept by them, but I don't think it's going to be a sweep. I think it's going to be a
Now,
competitive series just
yeah,
because this is a totally different type of matchup that they're going to be facing the Cavs. We'll talk about the Cavs moving forward, but just an incredible effort from this team tonight, really from top to bottom.
I could not be more proud of this team. I could not. I mean, just from what I saw, like you're down 20. Like you said, I remember what it was like against the Knicks when it's like we were blowing out the Knicks and the Knicks just kind of phoned it in and said, all right, hey, we'll get ready for the next game. Nope. Indiana never gave up. And every time they went down, and I feel bad. Sometimes I count them out. Sometimes I'm like, all right, you know what? Hey, I think it's done. And they prove me wrong time and time again. We have had heroic efforts this season. Like Halliburton has numerous game winners. We got Obi Toppin with game winners. Like Andrew Nemhard, like it's like This team is they're clutch. They're clutch individuals. Like for Siakam, it's like, yeah, we mentioned before, rough game on paper, but like the baskets he hit late, like we don't win without those.
Yeah.
Aaron Nesmith, who we've said is undersized forever because he is, had 12 rebounds in this game. Four of them came on the offensive side. Turner, we Turner's gotten ripped apart for his rebounding for years. Turner had four offensive rebounds tonight, 9 boards. Anytime Turner's giving you 9 boards, you're always like that is everything we can ask for. Thank you. There's other guys like Nemhard gave you 6 boards. Like in this type of scenario, it's like Indiana just dug deep across the board. Let's put it this way. They started 1 of 10 from three. They couldn't hit anything early on. They finished 11. It was 11 of 23 from
Mm.
three from the second quarter on. That's almost 50% from three. That's unbelievable. They got better as the game went on. And if you remove that 11-0 run to start the game by Milwaukee, Indiana was pretty much, the better team in this game. I felt like Milwaukee had their moments where they got really hot from three, and all of a sudden that there was like huge runs back and forth of double digits. But like I said earlier, the fact that the Pacers did something that hasn't been done in about 30 years, erasing a 7-point deficit in overtime in under 40 seconds, that felt Reggie Miller-esque. It's
Mm.
starting to feel like Tyrese truly is the modern day Reggie Miller, but in like I said, a modern day point guard type of version where he's clutch and time again he comes through.
Yeah. There was a stat, maybe you brought it up earlier, but like when Tyrese Haliburton leads the team in scoring, like,
They're unbelievable. I mean, it's even when he
yeah.
scored 20, they're like on the season. It's not the exact number right now, but they're like 26-3 or like
Yeah.
26.
It was something crazy. 28-3 at one point. I can't remember.
Yeah,
It
it's like
was
something like that.
insane.
It's nuts. Get the man to 20 points. Great things happen. It's nice. I wish it wasn't as hard as it is, but when he's dialed in, and we talked about it earlier in the series, he was not having a good series. He was not. He was struggling from the field, and that is not the guy we've seen the last two games. And when Tyrese is on, we can hang or beat anybody in the league.
Yeah. No, I mean, I totally agree. And it just reminds you, like, I get Milwaukee. They were a wounded animal coming into this game. No pun intended. I know they're deer, but I'm just no Dame. It felt like everybody was kind of writing the eulogy for the Milwaukee Bucks after that game, and they came in ready to fight, ready to punch. And I give them a lot of credit because I think the Pacers walked into this game thinking that they already had won it. It was like we're going to go through the motions. We're at home. We're going to win this game. I don't think they realized how tough it was going to be to eliminate a team in 5 games. And so, to me, that is where I think this is just another great learning opportunity for the Pacers moving forward. Like, look, they might find themselves in a similar situation against the Cavs. I mean, not 5, but they could find themselves in a situation where they could win a series in 6, and they just don't put their foot down like they need to. And I mean, they kind of did the same thing in Game 3 in the second half. They just seemed like they were happy to be up by 10 and almost just like, wow, I can't believe we're up and we're not playing this well. And then Milwaukee just came out and punched them in the mouth, and they had no answer. And that's exactly how the first half felt of this game. It was just like the Pacers ended up cutting it to 6 at the half, but like for like 18 of that 24 minutes, it was not pretty, and it was just like, what are we doing? So thank goodness that Doc Rivers did play a very weird lineup of Jericho Sims with Brooke Lopez together, and Jericho Sims was dropping the ball left and right everywhere, and it worked out in the Pacers' favor. They were like Kyle Kuzma. They had like Kyle Kuzma, Giannis, Sims, and Brooke Lopez out there on the floor with Gary Trent Jr. at one time. Like, what a weird lineup. Like, what are you doing? So, I get like why they went like super small and stuff like that. That made the most sense. But then like just to counter and go big against Indiana's bench and then basically play a zone defense for like 2 possessions. I was like, this is like the most absurd thing I've seen from Doc Rivers, but he was throwing anything at the wall hoping it would stick. And so, anyway, I'm rambling right now, Facci, but that's what podcasting is. We just ramble. We're just excited. It's a great game. Honestly, like, I can't put into words just how spectacular this was. And shout out to our friends over at FanDuel Sports Network, Chris Neri, Quinn Buckner, Jeremiah Johnson. They had to do a lot of heavy lifting for this series because this series was not on national television most of the time, but they were able to broadcast every single one of these games. And with the new TV deal that's going into place with Amazon and NBC, and of course ESPN, they will no longer be able to do any playoff games, which they've
I
only been
know.
able to do the first round for the longest time. So, to our friends over there, I just want to say shout out to y'all. Like it's been a lot of fun hearing you on the broadcast. We always love their work and appreciate their
Love it.
their friendship and their mentorship of this podcast. But I told Chris Denari, I said, hey, if this is the last game that you do, what a way to go out. What a last playoff game to ever call. Like that's just special.
That's true. That is a great point. This is a perfect game to go out on, and we don't want them to have to go out on anything because we love those guys. They add a lot to the experience of watching a Pacers game, and being a Pacer fan, and for all of us Pacer fans, I just feel like this is something that's just like, man, we've all been through so much over the years. We've been on the other end of heartbreak. Heartbreak. I don't want to take us down a trip of memory lane, but there's just plenty like LeBron game winners and other things that just have not gone our way. And a night like tonight is like, this is it. This is the reward. This is why we love this team. This is why sometimes we do overreact. And because some of these losses hurt. But a win like this, man, I feel like I could conquer anything after a win like this. I felt like I was ready to run through a wall after this happened. This win, I can honestly say, meant a lot to me. And this just shows like it made me feel like the little kid that I was 20 plus years ago. Just, I used to write it on paper. This is so stupid, but this is what I did. I used to put the box score. All right, Ben Wallace got a foul. Okay, hey, we need it. Like as if I'm doing anything. There's a box score on the internet. What am I doing? Just wasting all this. But that's how much I love this team that I wanted almost like when you go to a baseball game and you keep track of like the strikes and stuff like that. Like I've loved this team for so long, and wins like this make me feel like a kid again. I know the whole fan base has got to feel the same because I've seen social media running wild. This one was for us.
It was for us. It was for all the fans, and you know what? I'm glad that the fans got to experience this, and I'm glad that this podcast was able to talk about this incredible win. And you know what? It feels good to beat the Milwaukee Bucks
It
once
does.
again in the playoffs. Send them to Cancun, Facci. I mean, we'll see how far these guys are going, but there might be some drastic changes to this Bucks organization after today. And I really don't think that the Pacers beating them had any total impact on what could happen. I think that if they were to even win and get past Indiana somehow and make it like a 7 game series and win and then go against the Cavs, they were still going to make some changes. I mean, this is just a flawed roster with a great player, and so
It is.
we'll see what happens, but I think for everybody that was hating on Indiana, I'm sure there's going to be Bucks fans that are still going to call us front runners.
Of
They're
course.
still going to run their mouths and say, "Well, we were hurt. We didn't have Dame. If we would have had Dame, we would have beat y'all. Y'all sorry." Like it is what it is. Let them talk. They're dealing with stuff right now. You won. You played who was in front of you, and you beat them handily. You won in 5 games, and you were clearly the better team for the majority of the series. So that's why you won it in 5, and you only lost 1 game because Gary Trent Jr. got hot. But I will say this, Facci, we gotta bring this up. You told me off the at the beginning of the show or before we recorded the show. I never thought that Gary Trent Jr. would have another 30-point game. I said that we got the Gary Trent Jr. game. He's never gonna have another 30-point playoff game in his career. 2 games later, Facci, 33 points. Facci curse back in full effect.
Yeah, right. So, I got to give Gary Trent Jr. his flowers. I mean, he goes from that 37-point game to 6, and I went, yeah, it's probably more like it. Look, he's obviously a better player than that, but 33 points. I mean, I think he started 0 of 7 from three, and then just got like ridiculously hot. I
Yeah.
think he finished like 8 of 10 from three. Hey, that man was on a minimum contract. A minimum contract. I think he played his way into, a heftier payday, from the minimum contract, of course. But the Bucks, I don't even know if they can bring him back. You can bring him back, but you don't have that much to work with. And I just feel like it's getting a little hot in here. I realize that there's no breeze. That's probably because the window's shut. All right, the window is shut on the Milwaukee Bucks. It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be a long off season. I ain't trying to troll right now, but I'm sorry, guys. If you look at what Kyle Kuzma did, that man put together one of the worst playoff series I think I've seen in recent memory. Especially when you factor in Chris Middleton was involved in the trade. They really could have used Chris Middleton in this series. Might have been a different series, but I'm just proud of my team. Really happy. I saw some heinous, awful stuff from Bucks fans on podcast clips going around where they were talking about people should hurt and injure Tyrese Haliburton and stuff like that's disgusting. Guys, We play basketball here. It should never get personal to the point where you're trying to hurt someone. Dame got injured in a freak situation. There was no dirtiness at all. That was a non-contact injury. Let's keep it to basketball. This is not war.
Yeah, I just ignore that kind of stuff, Facci. I really do. I mean, it's
Yep.
unnecessary. It's ridiculous. I agree with you, but like, don't give it entertainment because the more you entertain it, the more they're gonna relish in the fact that they're getting talked about. So I don't know. That's kind of how I am with social media. I really don't engage anymore in arguments. I used to love to get in
It's
arguments
not
on
worth
social
it.
media, but then it's just like you're never gonna see eye to eye with every single
Never.
person on how you watch the
Never
game of
say it to your
basketball.
face. They would not say it to your face.
Yeah.
I don't even know if you're dealing with like honestly, it could be like a 13-year-old child that has like a photo of like Giannis on Twitter. You don't know
Right.
who you're dealing with. It's not worth it. I do not engage. There was someone a while ago that was like tweeting at me, like, answer me, answer me. I'm like, I'm not going to answer you because that's what you want. So you can't play into the trolls, but we see it. It is what it is. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not going to entertain it. I
Yeah.
love my.
Remember like a couple years ago, people were cropping
I
different
do.
people
Like,
on
was that
a
the
shirt
best
of
thing
me.
going in their life? Like think about that. Like
Yeah.
people spending the time to do that and make fake profiles with your face on it. Like
Well, it was my body with their like weird, ugly faces, and like
whatever.
they were
Yeah.
making fun of me for being fat when I was having a little bit heavier. It's whatever. And then in the middle of the arena, like as I'm walking through the concourse, somebody stops me and they're like, "Hey, I'm the person behind one of these accounts. Can I get a video with you?" And I was like, "No, I'm good." Like,
Not at
I'm not
all.
gonna entertain that. I mean, if you're gonna like talk down to me and like make fun of me, like why would I entertain that? So I'm just saying, like, ignore the trolls as much as you can. I know it's a lot easier said than done. I think that me and you both being a little bit older, more comfortable in our own skin, and kind of knowing who we are as people, like it doesn't really bother us. I used to get really upset about stuff on Twitter. I really did. I was emotional and I let stuff get to me. But I mean, I would have nights where I would just be like, I can't believe so and so said this, and I'd be thinking about stuff, taking it to bed. It's like you just cannot do that. So
Miles
that's just
Turner.
how I feel. And I know there's people out there that are like obsessed with social media and chatting and things like that. Just find a right balance. I mean, I know this is like a Pacer celebration podcast, but seriously, like you're gonna find yourselves in these interactions with fans from Cleveland. If they beat Cleveland, obviously it could get that way with Boston. And it seems like the Boston fans are a little more classy, only because they dominated the series. If it's close, like you just never know. I mean, Halliburton was talking a lot of crap, and I against the Bucks. And if I was a Bucks fan, I would hate him too. But I think sometimes you just got to not put your emotions out there and let it bother you so much. But anyway, off that soapbox, I'm just glad the Pacers won, Facci. A lot of fun, a lot of pep in the step, an exciting way to finish out the work week, get prepared for Cleveland. We'll definitely have podcasts coming your way here shortly to recap more stuff like that. But this is just one of those games where I think you need to just kind of let it digest and just realize
I
how
want to bet.
special this Pacers team is.
I want to bask in this. I want to let it soak in. I want to rewatch it. I want to not the whole game. I don't need to watch the first quarter. We could just watch kind
Put
of
yourself through it, Foch.
we can rewatch the fourth quarter, overtime and anything of that sort. Like this is a memory, guys. This is what it's all about. We will have from this game. I always love the playoff series is where you bring in new fans. There will be someone that we talk to, or maybe we never get to meet them, whatever it is, that says, I became a Pacers fan when they beat the Bucks in the 2025 playoff series. Halliburton's game winner was one of the first things that I remember. Everybody has those type of memories. We created memories, we created new fans on a night like tonight and a series like this. We're moving on to face the Cavs. I'm not saying that we're here with house money. I'm not trying to say that we're just happy to be there by any means. No. I believe in this team. It's going to be a hard fought series. Nothing's going to come easy. You probably won't see anybody picking the Pacers, but I'm ready for a fight. I am ready for a series, and I'm ready for some respect on this team. I want the ESPN games. I want the TNT games. I want them talking about us. This isn't the Pacers versus the Lakers or something where someone just go, all right, well, whatever. What has the Cavs done in the playoffs? They haven't achieved anything. So I think it's only right that the analysis on these teams is talking about which team is going to step up and go to the conference finals. And last I checked, we're the team that made it most recently to the conference finals. So bring it on, Cleveland.
Bring it on, Cleveland and Pacer Nation. We got to give our player awards out quickly as we wrap this one up, Facci. So, MVP of the game, who you going with here?
Tyrese Haliburton. Like I just think that what I saw down the stretch, I mean, was huge. 14 points in the fourth quarter overtime, the game winner. I mean, it's hard to argue against.
Okay. I won't push back on that too much. I do think that you could potentially say that it was quietly Miles Turner
You
was
could.
the
You
MVP of the
could.
game.
You could. I wouldn't argue much. Sometimes it's living in the moment of this, but I feel like Tyrese, even just like in fourth quarter, the 3-point play followed by the game winner, sure, that definitely falls under the Reggie Miller
That's
clutch.
what I'm thinking.
Or I mean, it's 100%. He's a shoe-in. He's a unanimous
He
vote.
got called Reggie Miller tonight by Rick. He said he's like the Reggie Miller of this team, this era.
I think so. I mean, that's what we're looking at right now. So Halliburton definitely wins that. He's got 2 awards from me. What do you want to do next?
Yeah, I think for our Feisty Foster player of the game, we got to give it Aaron Neesmith. 19 points, 12 rebounds,
Again,
just incredible. Like you cannot say enough great things about Aaron Neesmith. Battling fouls all game long too, like 5 fouls in this one, but just like the big steal that he had at the end of the game too was just like a massive. So I think for the Feisty Foster, I'd give it to him, and then for defensive player, I think I give it to Miles. I just think Miles was
yeah,
so important in this game. I mean, having to guard Bobby Portis at times, and then switching on, having to guard different players, having to guard Giannis because Pascal got in foul trouble, and actually doing a really good job forcing him to shoot a fadeaway jumper when the game was on the line. Like that to me, like we probably didn't talk about that enough, but like the decision Giannis made to shoot the ball on a fadeaway, like 19 feet away on the baseline
he
when the
also
game
took a
was tied.
3-pointer.
Was it
Like
was it a three?
he took a three, like maybe like late in the
No,
fourth.
I'm talking about the actual last shot of
Yeah,
regulation.
yeah, yeah. I mean that
It
that
was
was not
not a three.
no that one was not a three.
That's what
Uh,
I'm talking about because
he,
that to me was just like, why is that the final shot the Bucks are going
he
with for the
missed a
rest of the game?
15-footer. That's what it was. That
Yeah,
that you want Giannis to shoot that all the time.
it was off
Whatever
his
you
back
want him to
foot,
do.
fading away. Like that's
Exactly.
great defense.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, go for it. But Giannis, I forgot. I don't remember when exactly that he attempted a 3-pointer, but it was like in the fourth quarter he missed a 17-footer. That's always a win for Indiana. If he's trying to shoot those. So maybe it was in overtime that Giannis missed a three, but I was like, I don't even remember him taking threes in this series. So it was in overtime. He missed a 26-footer when it was 106 to 103, and I thought to myself, if Giannis is going to take a three, let him.
Yeah,
Also,
yeah.
Giannis turned into Steph Curry at the free throw line at one point. He hit like eight or nine straight free throws, which I was like, where has this been? But you know what? In the end, like it's a tough game, and I'm going on tangent here over here. But like game one, Indiana made all their free throws. This was the type of game I started looking at the misses and going, I hope this
Yeah.
doesn't bite us.
It was bad. They had a lot of misses. Mathurin had two in a row. Siakam had two in a row, I think. Turner had two in a row. So yeah, it was rough. There was some really rough stretches in here, but Pacers find a way, and now they prepare for Cleveland. So anyway, I think we gave all of our awards out there.
Hmm. Yep,
Anybody else? Six man of the game. Want to give it to TJ McConnell? Obviously, 18 points in
absolutely.
17 minutes.
McConnell, I mean, this is why he still gets this. This is realistically why he got that new contract because it's like he's such a important part of this team, and the bench didn't have it going tonight. They did not. TJ McConnell had it going tonight, and he shouldered the load for this bench.
My buddy David, who was on the podcast yesterday on the group chat, he said, "Can we add the Evan Turner Worst Player of the
I
Game
I
award?" I thought it was
I,
funny.
I did see
Um,
that.
just
Yes.
just for tonight's game, we'll throw that one in there. Who would you say was the worst player for the Pacers? Just to put you on the spot.
Worst player for the Pacers. Jarris had some bad shots, honestly. He had some bad threes that he took. One of them was deep. One of them was real deep. So I think if you were to go off of like a plus minus standpoint, it doesn't look like anyone was bad. Actually, everybody on the bench was actually a positive. And yeah, I mean, but I feel like Jarris, those shots were just like, I don't know, not great. I didn't think Matherin played,
I thought
great.
Mathurin had some really dumb moments in this
He had
game.
3 turnovers, which kind of negates his 3 steals, and you know. No one really hurt us. This wasn't one of those nights where it's like this guy was he got played off the court.
Yeah, I mean Mathurin wasn't like bad in the game, but he might have been the worst player in this one. Maybe Ben Shepherd, he only played 6 minutes, but like I'm not gonna count that.
But
So
like Matherin went 1 of 4 from the free throw line.
yeah,
That's
that's bad.
that's not like him though. Like
No,
that
and he
was
came back from the injury, but like there
he
was
was
that one play at the top of the
free
key where
throw
he's trying
line
to
too.
take Giannis 1-on-1. Did you see that when he tried to take
I
Giannis one on
know.
one? Then Giannis steals the ball and he dunks it. I'm like, Ben, what are you doing? Like, why are you trying to take Giannis 1-on-1 and like just breaking up the whole flow of the game? I mean, he's learning, and I truly feel this way. I feel like this was a very tough series for him in terms of how he fit in with the second unit, number one, and then
Yeah.
you're playing against the better unit for the majority of the series because the Bucks played their better players off the bench, and so now he's having to chase around so many shooters. And I mean, if he's guarding Kevin Porter Jr., it's fine, but if he has to guard AJ Green or Gary Trent Jr., he's in trouble
Stuff.
just because those guys constantly are running and trying to get open looks, and so. I felt like he had a very like okay series. Like it wasn't anything that really wowed you, but I do think that against Cleveland, he's going to have more of an impact to be an X factor.
I think so. First, he was 15 of 15 from the free throw line before this game, where he went 1 of 4. That's uncommon. So, he's been a really good free throw shooter. Second, yeah, I think we all had this idea in our heads like Matherin in the playoffs, that man's a hooper, like that man's a gamer, like this. And it was like he really didn't play much in the second half of a lot of games. Didn't have like a big outbreak type of performance. He shot just under 43%. So his averages in the series 10.3 points per game, just under 3 rebounds per game. He shot 43% and shot 13% from three. So it was a forgettable series for him. Not his best. I do think that he could still have that outbreak type of game against Cleveland where he goes off for like 15, 20 points on efficient shooting. That could definitely happen. But we won this series with Haliburton not being good through 3 games. We won the series with Siakam having 2 stinkers in the last 2 games. Matherin didn't give you much. The bench was inconsistent, and we still won in 5.
Yeah.
Think about that. So I think that some players can still play even better, which makes me feel like Cleveland, hey, you're in for a fight.
Yeah, the Cavs better not sleep on the Pacers, and the Pacers better be ready for the Cavs. I think they're going to be. Sorry, I had a burp there. They're definitely going to
No,
be. I mean, Rick Carlisle, I think he proved in this series how to get his guys ready. I understand that they were really tough. Like they just got punched in the mouth early on in this game, but like
kept
the
fighting though.
resiliency they had to come back, and like anybody that wants to hit on Rick Carlisle, like I don't really want to hear it. Like I mean, I get it. He ripped Jarris apart. Like I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Like that was like a Jarris made a bad turnover,
Yeah.
tried to throw it into the post. They stole it. Pacers scored after that play. Like they stopped the Bucks. The Pacers came down and scored again. The Bucks called a timeout. And after they called that timeout, Rick walks right up to Jarris, just starts yelling, and then just walks away. And like he just like let him know, like I mean, you can't do that if you're gonna play in this series. And I know people get frustrated because Rick's harder on younger guys, but it's just like these guys like the margin for error is so slim. And I think it's a really good point that Carson brought up in the group chat too. Just like this was Matherin's first ever experience in the playoffs. Same for Jarris. Like this is their first real playoff experience. So anytime that they're playing in that moment, Facci, like it's just going to be difficult. They're just going to have to learn. And I think if you go back and look at the first round of last year's playoff series, how many guys were streaky in that round? And it just kind of took them getting their feet wet to realize what playoff basketball is really all about once you're out there on the court. So, anyway, we've been going too long. Anything else you want to say before we wrap up?
Nope, just on cloud nine. I want to coast off this for a while. Not sure when the next Pacer game is going to be. Has not been announced. Could be Sunday. Could be Monday.
Saturday.
To get Saturday this weekend. There ain't gonna be a game Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We know that. So we'll see whatever happens. I'll be ready for it. I'm pumped. But also tell a friend, tell your parents, tell whoever. The Pacers are back. All right. Don't ever count us out again. We're going to the semis back to back years. You remember all those years the Pacers couldn't get out of the first
Oh, I
round?
remember.
That lasted almost 10 years. So I think it did last like 10 years.
Decade.
That was really tough. This is a different era right now. We expect to get out of the first round. Man, that feels good.
Facci, I see you're bouncing a little bit on the screen here. Is the pep in the step just like starting
Real,
already?
man. It's real. I mean, look, I feel like I'm like pulling a cameo over here where I got like an extra shirt over here. But this is the Beat the
Cammy.
Bucks shirt right over here, all right? Because that is exactly what we did. And you never know what I'm gonna pull out over here because I'm hyped right now. This
Be
Jermaine
careful what you're
O'Neal
pulling out,
jersey,
Facci.
this is from like when I was like in like 7th or 8th grade. This thing's like basically skin tight compared to the Danny
It
Green
looks
jersey
good on you.
that I wore the other day. Yeah, it fits a little tight, but at the same point, I'm just hyped. I was digging in the closet, like, no, I need to do my part tonight. Like, what can I do? All right, we have that jersey. We already wore that. No, let me try it. I'm just trying to be the 16th man, whatever, whatever I can be, whatever I can contribute. I'm staying home so I don't curse this team in person, but I need everybody out there, especially against Cleveland. You got to do your part. The crowd was rocking, and what you experienced tonight, that is why people are fans, to be able to experience that moment. So when your head hits that pillow tonight, I know you need to appreciate what you went through because I'd trade just about every game I've ever attended for what you got to experience tonight.
It was a lot of fun. I still can't believe it. I was there for the Halliburton game winner last year. I was there for the Nimhard game winner against the Knicks.
Oh
I
my
was there for the Halliburton game winner this year against the Bucks when he hit the three in the corner. Like I've got to experience some amazing stuff. So thank you, Pacer Nation. Thank you, Indiana Pacers, for allowing me to have a media credential and be a part of this because I could not do it without you. But with that being said, Facci, I just want to say, you said you were digging for a jersey. I love that you bring the shovel into the closet. Okay, You're
Got
always digging up stats. You're digging for
always,
clothes. The shovel is
always.
always on you.
I got a lot. I got a pile of dirt over here from all this digging. But man, at this point, it's just, man, I'm fired up, and this feeling, it ain't going nowhere. We got time to be able to bask in this, man. I love this team.
Oh man, and we're feeling good right over there. So we got to get all the Facciisms in for this
We
one. So
are.
with that being said, Pacer Nation, if you're hoping the Pacers can ride this wave of momentum into the Cleveland Cavaliers series and shock the world and beat the number one team in the Eastern Conference in the next series, and Facci, hit me with those three words.
Let's go, Pacers.